Well, welcome to the 7 o'clock talk. I'm going to get rid of the overlay, and there you will see us. And so we are on Washington Street at our favorite Thai restaurant, and we're going to go in here and eat after we do this real quick presentation. But we always talk about having, just having time and recuperating. And so when you go on vacation, it doesn't have to be a place with 9 million things going on all the time. We just recently went to a place called New Haven. Hi, Kathy. We just went to New Haven. So we are going to show you guys New Haven. And Jessica will be talking about this a little more. She's a little more eloquent at talking about these things than I am. And I'm still a little agitated at the overlay. Why is the overlay taking up so much space? I want no overlay. I guess I don't have a choice. It's a StreamYard overlay or not. Anyway, so we went to New Haven. So from Columbus, how far was that?
That was about 2.5 hours.
And it's a pretty drive. You just 265 to 265. And then once you hit 64, you are going to go all the way across Indiana to New Haven to the border. And as you can see, this is Lincoln's boyhood home. What did you think of New Haven?
I loved New Haven. So it was, I'm not sure, it kind of found me because it popped up on one of my feeds. I guess I'm always looking for adventures and new places to go that are fun and quick to get to for the weekend. So this one was very historical, and it was along the Wabash River. The entire town was 1 mile square, or was it half mile square?
The diameter would be a mile, so yes.
So, and it was really steeped in history and spirituality, and
Cultism.
really known for just being peaceful and relaxful.
It's the
Lots of art.
second oldest town in Indiana, and they talked about the vibe.
Yeah, you couldn't help like as soon as you got out of the car, it was like stepping back into time.
And it was a super chill place. And then we ended up, for those of you that are into like energy work and stuff like that, if you've ever been to Sedona, you've heard them talk about the vortices or the vortexes. And Jessica looked it up, and
Yeah, so Trevor, we were on our way back, so we didn't know this while we were there, but it was just the vibe of the city. Like it was so, like it was, you just couldn't help but to think about things. It was really thought evoking, very calming, serene. It was just the energy, no matter where you went, the energy was just amazing. And everybody was always talking about the energy. So Trevor's like, it's like one of those vortexes like in Sedona. So when I went to look it up, they actually are on a vortex, but they're also on a fault line.
Mhm.
And there's lots of different natural things occurring all in the same place at the same time.
and it's a great place for like we did 2 tours. We toured the city on a tram that was fascinating, and then we did a ghost tour, which was fascinating. I don't believe in ghosts, but
Yeah, but we did both of those because they were one was 90 minutes, the ghost tour was 90 minutes. They took you around and they showed you the city, the different buildings, and talked to you about the history behind them. And those buildings were, some of them were the same, but a lot of them were different. And then the other one was 2.5 hours.
yeah.
2 hours, 2.5 hours.
I'm sorry.
And they actually took you in the buildings and shared like a lot of fabulous history of the little town.
And so one of the first places we checked out is this roofless church, And that's kind of an interesting story because the philosophy behind this was that a roofless church is the only church that has enough space to house all the religions and all the people under God. And like we said, it's just seriously steeped in um, go learn the history. You will be absolutely fascinated.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter where you stayed, you were going to have a good time here. Like, you could be young or old and literally walk from one side of the city to the other at a relaxed pace and get anywhere you wanted to go in 15 or 20 minutes. They had they only had about 5 places to eat. 2 were really nice places. Um, the other one, I think there was a Legion, a tavern, and then there was like a coffee wine shop. But the culture and the sense of belonging in this community was amazing. So there was only 750 locals. Most of them were probably, I would dare to say, over the age of 50. Um, there was only 2 places in the evening that were open. It was the tavern, which everybody went to, and the food was really good for bar food. And the other one was a coffee shop during the day, a wine and coffee shop in the evening, but they had patio furniture. Like, everybody came in, it was like a bunch of sofas and chairs. Everybody knew everybody. They're like, oh, we thought so and so was coming with their guitar to sing. Like, they had a real sense of belonging and just community, like caring for each other.
And so a lot of the town is just like you can see here. It's open. This is inside the church, but they really try to take into account the nature and giving people the chance to just relax.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So this actually, we probably stood underneath this mushroom structure. The acoustics were amazing. It was super cool, and it was so hot out. It was probably 95 degrees. But this sculpture was fascinating, and you should go and look at it and
read it
and think about it in your own perspective. But the sculpture was just unique and amazing, and it this roofless church, we probably could have spent all day in each room inside of these walls had another specific piece of art. And whether it was a story or a saying or a quote, you could sit there, and it really was thought evoking and made you think about your world and how you see it. But you could have probably came up with 10 or 20 different ways of thinking about something. It was just really peaceful. There was water sculptures in there. There was nature, the birds, the singing of the birds. Like, it was so peaceful.
And it was like you woke up. We stayed at the inn, the New Haven Inn. We were right on the water, had a view of the water, and it is a very spiritual place. They had a sculpture of St. Francis of Assisi with the birds coming in, and then they had another sculpture that was an abstract. They had the nose of God over the heart, breathing life into the heart of the people at the church. Just fascinating, and hearing about the Lutherans that came over and their philosophy and how hard they worked, and it's just unbelievable. This is inside the church, the roofless church, as you can see. It's all open, and then that's outside looking at the roofless church.
Robin, we're actually sitting out in Washington Street in Columbus now.
Outside Thai Connection, because we're eating right after this.
But these pictures came from New Harmony, Indiana.
Ooh, I said New Haven.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was New Harmony, not New Haven.
Sorry.
It's New Harmony, Indiana.
Um, this is one of two of the what they call that, the labyrinths. So this is the entrance way to one of the labyrinths. It takes you about 15 minutes to walk this, and that's a picture of the labyrinth.
This place was blissful. There was a water feature. The trees, you can't really tell, but the trees just kind of overhung it. It was inside of a fence all by itself with these. That's not grass. Those are actually plants, and they probably during certain seasons the flowers would have been amazing. But there was two benches, a hedge, a water feature. The birds were singing. It was. I laid down on the bench, and I could have probably stayed there half the day.
She laid there while I was doing my rosary, walking the
Yeah.
thing. So there's this writing in Latin, solvitur and ambulando, and basically that means when you have a question or you have a problem, walk it out. And so people would do that. They would walk the labyrinth while they're thinking so that they can figure this out, and it's peaceful. So it's that taking the sympathetic response of people and taking the anger and the angst and the anxiety out of it. And you're just sitting there walking, doing nothing so you can calm down. And there's the labyrinth, and you just follow this line and you go all the way back and around until you get to the center, and then you come back out.
And there's two, and they are meant to represent they said that was put into place in 17 or 18. I don't remember. It's not real old.
And then here is inside the granary, and look at that craftsmanship. It's the old peg.
Mortise and tenon.
Yeah,
pegs.
it's just unbelievable. That was 5 stories tall. That was on the backside of the sculpture in the church. And once again, it's really artsy. So this is a store called Capers, and it's a kitchen gadget. I was going bonkers in there. I absolutely loved it. I didn't buy anything.
No, but we could have probably stayed in that little store for hours. And this was only one of 2 different stores in the entire town besides a Dollar General. And this whole town went the extra mile.
Oh yeah.
It was a blissful perfection. We bought a pair of eyeglasses, and
the packaging was unbelievable.
Yeah, they didn't put it in like a plastic bag or brown paper sack and give it to us. They dolled it up like a gift. It was like in a gift bag with beautiful gift like tissue paper, curling ribbon. Like this whole place made you feel so special.
And that's our dinner at the Red Geranium. And she has a wonderful wedge salad there. That wedge salad was excellent.
And apparently Meryl Streep likes to come to this restaurant because her husband created a sculpture that is in the garden where their original church used to be. And so they'll laugh and they'll be like, yeah, Meryl Streep was down at the Red Geranium today. It's probably one of the higher end, one of 2 high end restaurants in the little place. But it was the food was phenomenal. You could eat in or eat out.
What was
it was very
other one?
Mary Scott's, but it was closed.
We didn't go there.
Yeah, it was shut down, so we didn't get to go there. But
we had what was our appetizer?
It was fried goat cheese with biscotti.
Yeah, with bruschetta.
Bruschetta.
And that was fabulous. The wedge salad was wonderful. I got the surf and turf, which was done to perfection, and the shrimp had a compote on it. I mean, it was excellent food.
The service, they were so service minded.
There it is. A baked potato. There's the filet with the shrimp. and then asparagus. And I don't know that I got a shot of yours. There you're
No,
in the
I
hedge.
got pecan encrusted chicken because I'm trying to get myself to eat it. But it was fabulous. It was so good. And this is the original Labyrinth. So that was created in like 1818, and then it was redone 120 years later.
Yep.
So it wasn't perfect anymore. So like you could, if you followed the path,
It'll get you there.
Yeah, it would eventually get you there. I think it was more of the fact that it had been there for so long, and it was very pretty, and that little like temple in the middle. It We couldn't go in, but there was windows, and it had some symbolism on the inside, but weren't sure what it was about.
And you guys are not getting the breadth of what's here. They had a house called an Oculus, which is about the same size as that house, but no windows. There's a door, and in the door there's a hole, and when you shut the door, you give yourself a couple of seconds to acclimate, and then all of a sudden the Oculus is showing an inverted image of what's outside on the wall all the way around.
Yeah,
it was fabulous.
Yeah, those were in the old log cabins from the original settlers in one of the settlements, and they had brought them into the town and created a little community. And the walls were painted white, but as you opened your eyes, it was a black and white image. But if you sat there long enough, it turned into color.
And it was just
fascinating,
super cool. There's a ceramics place there, and they try to do the old ways. So they fire their bricks and they fire lots of stuff. They kept several of the old stoves out and about in the...
Yeah. So this particular place was closed when we were there, but they actually do the hand throwing of the clay. So the potter's wheel, and you can call in advance and you can schedule that. But this city is only open really on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Monday through Thursday, it's truly just the locals in certain things, and the community, the restaurants and everything. They come alive on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And we did buy a dulcimer there because there's a guy that has handcrafted dulcimers, and there is so much art there that it's unbelievable.
Well, and they're so laid back that they start their day the way you should start your day. They wake up slowly. They do their things. Nothing opens up before 10 o'clock. Most everything opens up between the hours of 10 and noon, and almost everything closes by 6 o'clock.
And there is no nightlife.
Yeah.
Zero.
This is truly probably meant for couples. It's a really romantic,
recharge,
chill vibe. Like, it was shocking to hear a little kid giggle after. There was no children there. It was just really an adult oriented, just a quiet
place.
Yeah, it was fabulous.
And this is up in the museum. They have a great working man's museum, and it's one of the first museums in the nation, and it was started by the same guy that started the Smithsonian. One of the Owenses that actually started the Smithsonian started this museum.
And it was first.
There's one of the first actual working fire trucks. The brigade dumped water into that middle trough, and then two guys worked the handles on opposite ends, and that is what did the water the fire hose.
And I think they said it took 18 men continually working to run this.
The bucket brigade. And then there's an old pulley system, and there's a coffin. If you look underneath the arm, so I don't know if you guys can see my arm, but if you look at that center post and it drops down, and you look just to the right, there is a black box that has a piece of paper on it. That's actually a coffin. These people were super tiny. Like, if you were 5 foot tall, you were a giant here.
And the gilded paintings there, those were actual fine art that the guy went to Europe and had commissioned to bring back to this little city so that they could also enjoy and see fine art.
And that was one of those things where it's unbelievable to me that you could go there, and if you wanted to be disrespectful, you could touch the painting. They are not behind glass. They're just right there so you can see. So definitely a jewel in Indiana, and we will be going back. We're going to take our mountain bikes back. We didn't even remotely hit the parks or any of that stuff. So we're looking forward to it. But
So this museum, so everything in this city was free
except for the tours.
except for the tours. So there was two of them. There was a ghost tour and there was the tour of the city. But it was very inexpensive. It was fascinating. You could have spent days just reading the history.
Oh yeah.
But we'll probably go back probably maybe next month with their mountain bikes and just ride down the Wabash.
And if you're a dork like me, they got a lot of Pokemon stops.
Highly, highly recommend this little jewel.
With that being said, we love you all. We'll see you on the flip side. Next week, we are going to go over what is functional medicine. Have a great evening, and thank you for your time.